if Rag and Viking would like to unmute their microphones.
Indeed.
Hello.
Hello.
There we go.
Okay, turn up your mic a little bit, Viking.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Turn it up, pump it up.
Okay, welcome to two of the Many Hats Club's coolest dudes.
Coolest
dudes.
Yeah.
And also part and parcel of the engineering team behind what we're doing tonight.
And it was a last minute hassle, let me tell you. It moved quickly.
So part of why this is working at all is down to these guys. So thanks be to them. And over to you, chaps. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I guess what we always talk about, and really intelligence and stuff like that, the fun stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I suppose you should probably introduce yourselves, yeah? You want to go first, Rag?
Yeah. I'm unlike the other people who've been on so far, newer to the industry professionally. I got my first InfoSec job in June, so a couple of months now. And that's in the aviation industry, specifically sort of threat hunting and looking for vulnerabilities throughout the aviation sector. So that's who I am.
That's kind of where you want vulnerabilities to be found, right?
Oh, yeah.
In the aviation industry.
Protecting the skies.
Yeah, quite.
Well, I'm Cyber Viking. I have a beard. I drink beer. And that's all I think I'm legally allowed to say for now. I'm not sure. I'm still going through the paperwork. But
could be quick, this.
We're both kind of security researchers. We do intelligence-based research and other security research. So we do tend to have a crazy background and some crazy stories that we come across. Mainly this year alone, like 2019 for us has been crazy. Like it's been from tracking school shooters to finding mass amounts of vulnerabilities in systems all over the world. Right, pick a story. Go ahead and start.
Should we start with the NASA one?
Yeah, sure. We'll start with NASA.
Start with the NASA one.
NASA. Everyone talks about NASA. Let's go with that one.
We actually have an image to put up on the stream. So Matt, when you can, we want to show everyone this image. I'm waiting for it to update.
For context, it is my father's disabled, so every time he loves rockets, he loves space. So every time there's a space launch, I sit down and I watch the rocket launch as well. So this hot Pacific day, I was sitting there watching a SpaceX launch, and I was thinking, wow, I wonder has anyone ever pen tested the rocket? Like, I'm sure people have, but I was sitting there, I was wondering, you know what? It'd be amazing to be able to pen test a rocket. So first thing I did, straight on Twitter, I was like, oh, I wonder if anyone ever pen tested a rocket. And anyone can talk to me about this. Okay, Rag's first response back was, give me a second, let's hop on Showdown. I was like, whoa, no, Rag, calm down. You can't be doing that, especially not without me. So, of course, we followed up with, the boat was hopping on Showdown, and about 6 hours later, I don't know if the image is up yet.
It is.
We had to contact NASA. So that's the kind of stuff we got to get the wild shenanigans.
Was it 40 or so vulnerable systems ranging from just like anonymous FTP through to just random IoT devices,
exploding kettles.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff. The kettles with the particle accelerator, that wasn't NASA.
Can I ask a quick question here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So the beer farmers a few months ago were asked to contribute to a Forbes article about NASA being hacked. Has any of this shit to do with you?
Wasn't us.
Can neither confirm nor deny.
No.
we were responsible with the way we did this.
Yeah,
we got the contact, and the tweet on the right in the picture got taken down, and then for about 3 weeks after, everyone had screenshots of the tweet and were sending us them.
Yeah, because it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
but it's not just that. Like, we do other massive amounts of crazy bits of research. Our favorite at the moment is like tracking people down. I absolutely love it. OSINT is my bag, not just OSINT, but all source intelligence in general. RAGS is very similar with it as well. So when it comes down, like, we're constantly challenged with people now to find them, like anywhere points in the world. Like Jenny Radcliffe was one of the recent ones I did. That was a good one. That was in London. Rag, for example, a photo Rag put up on Facebook and basically told me to find Rag. Took me all of what? I think it was like 3 minutes in total. The 5-minute mark.
Rang me. Rang me.
Yeah, the 5-minute mark was when I actually got you on the phone and called you in a hotel room.
That was.
So what are you telling us? In other words, if we value your privacy, don't share photos with Cyber Viking.
Yeah, well, not just me in general. Like, I'm always amazed the amount of stuff that people post online, especially when it comes down to like selfies. Like, I don't know how many selfies I see friends put up and pitch their car keys in the background. Like, People like that will always go, "Oh yeah, it's just a car keys. What can you do with that?" But like 3 years ago when I started college first, we were 3D printing keys that would work in locks. So it tends to get pretty scary when you start seeing that and then seeing what people are actually posting online. People don't realize what they're posting.
No,
every bit of data you can gather is intelligence.
And how do we make people aware of this? Because I mean, it's by the sounds of it, everyday photos. It's something like I would post, especially my family would post. So how do we make people aware of it?
It's like what Stu did recently with this Tripwire article, the OPSEC one. It's literally just about raising awareness, making people aware that, granted, you might look at a picture and think it's innocent and all this stuff, but what you don't realize is in the reflection of your glasses is, I don't know, a bus number. All of a sudden, you can now work out where that person is on that route.
Like, yeah, one specific one I did with that was for another researcher of mine. It goes by Alan DeBlanc, a friend of mine from college as well. Yeah, he's a good guy. We did a whole basically around the stickers of his laptop, and I was able to track him down based on the stickers to his Facebook page. And from there, I was able to then basically follow him across Dublin City using live webcams. Wow. So I was able to track him from like Temple Bar, straight up Collins Street, across Collins Street to his bus stop. But then again, once I know his bus stop, I know his bus route. Right. I just have to know how many stops he goes and then he gets off the bus. And then again, he's in VC every day talking to us, so we know how long he's on the bus. I just calculate that time from when he's on the camera at the bus point to the time he gets off, and I've got a solid idea of this area where he's staying. That's when stuff starts getting really scary. People don't realize the information they're putting out there. And it's very hard, especially with people like me, who will see information everywhere. So I see intelligence in absolutely everything that's given to me. Mm-hmm. Everything from the type of beer you're drinking to even recently McAfee's bunker, the stuff that was in his bunker, like fun. Such as like people overlooked it. Like when he picked up his camera from Many Hats Talk and twisted it around, people overlooked what was in the room. Like I'll say it right now because I'm in the middle of writing a blog post, so I get up soon. Like he had a McDonald's cup. Like
the bottle of water, the chair,
the chair type, all from very specific countries. Yeah. If you add them all up, you get a solid idea where his bunker is.
Wall sockets been another great example. Power sockets, I mean.
Power sockets. Power sockets. One of the key things, like the McDonald's cup, for example, was the fact that it wasn't. You could tell by the size of the cup that it was very similar to like a UK large size, not an American. There was the difference there. So obviously that rules out America straight away.
Yeah.
And you can start sort of digging down into where it is.
I've got a question for you, for the pair of you. And what you do, what you've described there is like super, super interesting and actually really fascinating from a nosy bastard point of view.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just get to a point where we understand what the risk profile is to individuals from this kind of stuff. So on the one hand, my mum's probably not going to be a victim of what you guys are doing. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I should hope she isn't anyway. So what's your audience for this kind of knowledge and this kind of advice? I think I know the answer, but for the benefit of the people listening, where are you aiming this kind of work and this research and stuff that you do?
So I do it more as a hobby now than anything else.
Yeah.
So when I do it, I tend to try share what I've learned over doing this as a hobby to everyone around me. So I'll always tell people, when you come down to how does it affect normal people, the best way I can describe it is a friend of mine from college posted on Facebook where he got his new apartment in Dublin City, and how it had a great view of the bridge, and it was overlooking the bridge, and then he was going to go out for drinks and stuff like that night. It was great. Someone replied back straight away, was like, "Oh, awesome! Tell me where it is. I'll come over. I'll meet you there. We'll go for lunch before you go out." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm at 14B." So many people would sit there and go, "Oh, that's just a standard post on Facebook." But I'm sitting there going, "Hang on a second. How many buildings overlook the bridge in that part of Dublin? How many would have 14 apartments in it, especially when it would need to be B or A at minimum?" So I have an idea where he is, where his apartment is. I also then have a solid idea how long he's going to be away. So if I'm a criminal or a burglar and I want to break in, I now know how long he's gone away from his apartment. I know for a fact he's out drinking, so there's a good chance he's going to come back inebriated, and if I have to deal with him, I have to deal with him. So that is the way you got to look at this. There's intelligence everywhere, and not everyone knows what they're doing. They're posting online. Everything from even the way you type is intelligence now. So you can gather you can like break down people's sock accounts, like their fake accounts online, their dummy accounts, easily by how they're typing. Like people, I use 3 dots a lot. I use 3 dots a lot when I'm typing to make spaces between the columns. If I do that anywhere else, people recognize that straight away when I'm typing because it's in a set compartment.
I mean, there's been situations when I've been doing like digging into. Me and Viking have just been sat in a voice channel. We've been looking at old posts. Like I've had old posts of Dean's Up, and you can see the same sort of sentence structure, and it hasn't changed. So you can instantly identify, even though it's a different username on like 10 or so years ago. You can tell it's the same person.
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting because from what you've just described and what you're talking about in general, there are clearly roles for the pair of you in my head.
Indeed.
In intelligence analysis.
Yep.
Certainly in the sort of the MI6 GCHQ arena.
It tells me also that OPSEC for actual undercover operators, UC, confidential informants, and intelligence services is becoming nearly impossible.
Yeah, agreed.
In this society, the only concern I have is, guys, like, what happens if the techniques and stuff like that are applied to targets that are basically like if the bad guys. So are we entering in a realm where there's counter surveillance opportunities?
Massively. It's a massive concern. I understand exactly where you're coming from with that, because I've thought about it myself. What if posting something online, someone gets an idea of how to do it themselves against someone else?
Yeah.
I think that's a massive concern, because you're breaking massive amounts of OPSEC. Like, I have a website called Breacher I put up just to basically break OPSEC. It's only for, it was only a CTF client for me, so I can literally be like, oh yeah, this is all the tools I possibly need in one place. If I go on there, I can pull up anything I need quickly just to do this. I've always sat there and thought, like, what if someone really bad got access to this? But at the same time, I'm thinking, it's like, okay, what if the good guys see this first? Okay, they'll know exactly how I found them or how I got to this point. They'll know how to protect themselves.
I mean, there was an incident, wasn't there, recently about the person who had extrapolated pictures from someone's glasses and used that information to stalk, and then eventually, did they get murdered?
No, it wasn't murdered.
Was it murdered?
Massively wounded, though.
Yeah.
Critically wounded. Now, I actually talked about that weeks beforehand, about doing that in VC. I actually have a blog post up talking about how to do it. I think I have it down at the moment. I do. Let me check.
Yeah, no, I think I took it down. Yeah, I took it down after that news article dropped, because obviously it's the same techniques.
Yeah.
It's...
I guess there's very much a parallel between that kind of thinking and the thinking of online pen testing. I mean, it's showing how to hack something. Obviously make it more secure, but the bad guys can use that as well as the tools to do bad things.
Yeah, definitely. But see, the problem is
find that balance.
Everything these days, everything is connected. That's the problem. So people are connecting their Facebooks to their Instagram to their Twitter. They're connecting everything everywhere. So without realizing, they thinking, oh yeah, it's great, it's handy, but they're connecting their whole life. So everybody's connecting. So if I want to find you from your Instagram, I'm finding your Facebook. A common one I usually do talks is I show my Tinder profile. I'm like, well, this is how you can stalk me from my Tinder profile. Of course, I don't have a Tinder profile anymore for anyone out there. Just saying, I just have to put that forward.
That's good news.
Yeah, that's
congratulations.
But like I still have that as an example. Like, okay, well, it has basic information: my name, my age, where I was in education, where I worked. Pretty straightforward. If I search that in a simple Google Doc, I can pull up my Facebook profile.
Yeah.
And from there, I've got images of myself, which I can pull out my home address from the background. So I see where I live. If I have a selfie at my house, the car I drive, I have a picture of my car. And it's just a case of building up that profile. Now, when it comes down to bits of information, it could be down as simple as one little word or a name or a simple location, and you can break someone's massive amount of OPSEC.
Yeah.
Like it's...
I mean, we saw that during the TraceLab CTF, didn't we?
Yeah,
we were pivoting from one person's account to a family member and then to an alternate account, for example.
Yeah.
So a single comment.
So, like, the amount of information that you guys can get with limited access to a lot of things like Facebook and that is kind of alarming. So, do you think that illustrates just how powerful companies like Facebook and Google are? Like the amount of data that they can have on people?
In a way, I think it's beautiful. It's as scary as it is. I think it's actually beautiful to be able to have that much intelligence. Like I always had this argument for a long time where people say, "Oh, having Facebook, it's bad for your security." Well, I'm sitting here going, "Well, I've done stuff with TraceLabs a lot. I've done TraceLab CTF. I've helped find and locate missing people or suicidal people. and help prevent suicides through information they put on Facebook. I see Facebook as a really good OPSEC having it there, because at the end of the day, if something happens to you, it's your timeline.
Yeah.
I know I understand at the same time, if you have intelligence sitting up there and somebody else is coming along and going, oh yeah, I can get everything I want from this person. Yeah, it has that downside, but it also has a positive side.
I think one of the problems here, and Viking, that's a really good example about using OSINT as a force for good, right? So you're able to trace an individual down to the fact they're stood on a bridge at any given time thinking about killing themselves, and maybe preventing that from happening. And that is wonderful, really. You know, the opportunity there is fantastic. I don't think we hear about that enough, because the reason we don't hear about it enough is because of an example that we hear about too much. And Ian, you know all about this one. This is about Junaid Hussain. Okay, so this is Trick, the guy that was the head of the cyber caliphate in terms of ISIS. And he was running all of their online operations around propaganda, recruitment, and all that kind of stuff. And it's precisely everything that you guys have spoken about that led to his demise.
Indeed, yeah.
It was about people doing the work that you guys do that led to a guy in Langley or somewhere over in a remote location with a joystick in his hand, firing hellfire down from the skies that blew him away and killed him. And that makes the news, and that's all about using OSINT and technology and all that kind of stuff generally for a war-related outcome. But I don't think we hear enough about the other reasons why it's great. And that's kind of the thing I was trying to tease out about what the use cases are for it.
Well, I think too, like if you read a lot of the cyber criminal indictments where the cyber criminals have tried to practice rudimentary OPSEC, but the investigators, the FBI, and the specialists have figured out their dastardly their plans, you know. And again, this is all about, you know, where to look and how to look, and then, you know, apply technology and data science to it. And all of a sudden we now know that Bitcoin is not an anonymous currency. In fact, the United States, as a result of the Myra botnet guys, now have a way of tracing the creation of Bitcoin, what it was used to buy, to an email account, to an individual. So we're living in a world where I think, you know, what Cyber Viking and Rag are really talking about is the idea that this is a technique, a tool, a service, if you will. OSINT as a service can be applied for really positive things. It can also be applied for really negative things.
Yeah, no, completely agree. So, okay, in the couple of minutes we've got left, guys, what are you up to next? What's the next year or 6 months look like for you?
For me, I can't really answer that. I don't know what way it's going to go at the moment, but I don't know. I think my first purchase will be a drone if I get some money together. I have to win the lotto, and I have to get that drone in there, and then I think it was an IMSI catcher as well. We need Rag and a few other things.
We need another satellite.
Yeah, we need another satellite. Yeah. So, I honestly can't say. I don't know. The way things have went in 2019, I hope it doesn't go bad, but it could go better than it did. If it goes better, hell, like it's gonna be amazing. 2019 this year for me has been absolutely spectacular, especially increasing my career, increasing my knowledge, helping as many people as I can in the world, and just making that bit of a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Rag. What way are you going?
Well, work. I mean, it's recently I've been able to start doing OSINT a bit more professionally, and that's great. And it's probably carrying on with that and trying to get maybe into stuff like the Treadstone, counterintelligence courses, that type of stuff. But yeah, just carrying on what we've been doing this year, really.
Brilliant. No, yeah, that's cool. One thing I would say is then keep doing what you're doing, but keep on the light side of the force.
Indeed, yeah.
The plan to.
Yeah. Something to quickly add. We want to beat our record on the TradeSlab CTF. We need 20,000 points this year.
Yeah, minimum 20,000. Yeah.
When is that, guys?
No
Good
idea.
question.
It's supposed to be soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be soon.
Let's ask Daniel Card. I believe he's doing it this year. No, I'm kidding.
He's hosting all the CTS. I'd like to add as well that I've known these two chaps for quite a while now, and they really are incredibly impressive. And everything they talk about, they live and breathe. And they've helped a lot of people, missing people, cases of stuff that we can't talk about. We've been involved. I've been a little bit involved in as well.
Sure.
Helping people who've actually been hacked and investigate those cases.
Brilliant.
It's a lot of good work that doesn't really come to light because of the sensitivity of it. But rest assured, they're on the right side and doing stuff that's helping people.
And it's things like that. I know a lot of it we can't share, but at least share some of it, whether it's anonymized as much as possible. Because as we've heard tonight, there's been a lot of negativity, toxicity around InfoSec. So trying to elevate these things, like the work these two are doing, I think will really help our industry as a whole. Too often we focus on the negative. We've got to celebrate the positives.
Hopefully the project that the three of us are working on, and also Alan as well, actually, who got mentioned, we hope at some point to release that anonymized version of that research, because how long has it been, guys?
It's gone on 4 months now.
4 months. 4 months investigating what is we talk about it in an hour podcast, but yeah, it's ridiculous.
And is this work that you guys are doing in your own time as well?
Yeah,
Wow.
Purely.
Oh, awesome.
It's all about helping people. For me, it goes back to me as a child wearing the Superman costume, going, "I want to make a difference in the world." And it's still this today. I still feel like I wear that costume. I want to help people and to make a difference. I don't care about the money. I as I've said before, I could live on minimum wage and be happy as long as I know I'm making a difference in the world.
Can't argue with that.
So it sounds like you are. So thank you.